can be inside but also outside, and when they are growing and growing and growing, they pressure. So you see the space you have for the egg to go through is minimum. You do not have this space. So masses can be in ovaries, pelvic wall, and also in fallopian tubes, and there are adherences. So there are adherences, scar tissue, more pain, more inflammation, and a lack of flexibility. And these adherences and scar tissue in this level 3 avoid fertility, avoid conception, really. Level 4 is called severe. As you can imagine, masses can be seen also in intestine, not only ovaries, pelvic wall, and fallopian tubes. There are adherences, and there are those big masses that sometimes are like 9 or even 10 centimeters diameter, like a small football ball. They are called endometriomas. There is completely an ovary damage, and fallopian tubes are completely obstructed, one or both. So these are the fourth level. When you read the records from endoscopy, you can have these. Well, we are going to go on to 6, and so we have time to make some questions. So, which are the factors or the suspected factors that can make a professional to think that maybe an endometriosis is presented? These are the main factors. A woman with a very early age in the menarche. But this is very important. This is one of the questions we always do when we have our record. Which age was your menarche? Many women that doesn't know what is the menarche. When did you have your first mens? And what is early? It depends on the family. It depends on the country, the climate. It depends on many things. For example, girls in southern countries, I live in Spain. Okay, we have the South and Canary Islands, that is only in the tropical area. The girls in Canary Islands, they have the menses usually when they are 11, even 10. When they are 12, they are like, whoa, top models, completely developed. But so we have to compare, and usually when I think that an age is early or late, is delayed for a menarche, I always ask, what about your family? Your mother and your aunts and your sisters, if you have sisters. Was it the same? And so often you can find that if it is not, let's say, normal for the climate or the region or the family, maybe you can find there probably a factor for developing endometriosis. Why? Because this woman is having menstruation. If she is 30, perhaps 2 or 3 years more than a normal, let's say, normal woman. Usually a medium, an average age is 12. If a girl is 14 and she has not her first menses, it's too late. If she's 16, it's very late. In that case, we should ask about the lifestyle, because perhaps she is a sport girl. She is doing gymnastics or ballet, and she's very thin. And you know that there is a need of a minimum of fat tissue to have menstruation. Okay? I told you before, the first case I told you, she was very, very, very thin. And after we will talk also about that. There is a minimum fat tissue to have in order to be able to have menstruation. When the fat is below this minimum, the menstruation is lost. That is why many sport girls and women lost their menstruation. Okay? On the other hand, fertility, I hope you understand this. I say this in a very serious way. Fertility is a biological luxury. We have some minimums: breathing, being able to do our digestion, have food, and grow. But really, being a woman, having menstruation, indicates that things are good. But being a mother, it's a luxury, it's an extra. When you are too weak, you cannot have the energy for being a mother. That is why also, if a woman is too weak and she is pregnant, we have to take care very, very well and very, very close in order to protect her. That is why all women used to say, at least in Spain, I don't know here, every child born means a tooth lost. Why is it?
So it's taking all the energy, isn't it?
The new baby is taking all the calcium and all the energy and all the blood and teeth and hair. We don't need it. Okay? And we know from Chinese medicine that we have to protect the fertile stage to have a good old age. Okay, so this is very important. Now we are living longer, but it doesn't mean really living better or healthier. So it's very important for us to really make a prevention, to teach our clients, our patients, to take care. Okay? Well, so an early age for menarche can be a factor that maybe can suspect that endometriosis can be created. A woman that has no children, and of course it is not because she is on contraception or because no, I don't want to have children. We have to ask, do not have anything for done. Also, when women have frequent menstrual cycles and short cycles or very heavy or normal cycles but very heavy, maybe can be endometriosis, maybe can be myomas. I prefer that this is only myomas because endometriosis is worse, okay? Or menses that are very long, 7 days or longer, even 6 days is very long. 5 is fine because usually they will tell you day 1, 2, and 3 it's heavy, and 4 and 5 it's scanty. It's fine. It's fine if it is a 28 days cycle. This is almost normal. Okay. Well, another situation that can make you think about endometriosis is when suddenly every menses is scanty, more. more scanty or less blood in the menstruation. And there are also some specific situations that we call tri-like uterus. It is like a small uterus that has not been correctly developed. So it can be also prone to develop endometriosis, and also as I tell you before, an excessive retrograde position of the uterus, because in this position the blood will not go outwards easily. Okay. So some osteopaths work. There are some specific manipulations to try to put the uterus in place. But if ligaments are affected and they are tight, uterus will begin again to the butt place. Well, some other factors that I can tell you, these are the factors previously, these are the factors that you can find in gynecology books and all that. From my experience, there are some other factors that can lead or can make a woman prone to endometriosis. For example, some local damage, some inflammation or lesions or infections, and above all some endometrial infections. There are women that they always complain about discomfort. I told previously about discomfort during intercourse, discomfort and feeling not comfortable, feeling like dry, or feeling that kind of pain that doesn't make life easy. Also, HPV infection is very important. Nowadays we will listen a lot about HPV infections, and it is said that almost all the girls or the young women that have had sexual relationship, they have been in contact with HPV, human papillomavirus. It doesn't mean they develop the infection. Be aware of that, because this is a little bit scary. Maybe we have been in contact with it, but we have never developed the infection. It depends also on our immune system, okay? But if there is a positive to HPV, maybe this is another factor that maybe women will develop an endometriosis. Some things that can provoke irritation, inflammation locally may change this layer, this ultimate layer of the endometrium. Of course, the infections regarding to Candida albicans, okay, Latin name, candidiasis. Candida can be an infection that provokes a lot of problems, because you know that Candida lives usually in our intestine, but in women, because of our physiology, we have a lot of infections that travel from the large intestine through the bladder and also through the vagina. So Candida and also Escherichia coli can be infective agents that can provoke this inflammation, this irritation in the endometrium. Also, there is a specific factor in my experience, that is when you see a woman with a lot of varicose veins, with problems in venous circulation. We usually see that in the legs, in the ankles, in the legs, but do not forget that the problems of venous vessels is all over the body. But because of gravity, we feel that in our legs, in our feet. And uterus is one of the places where veins can be also inflated, swollen, and where you can find problems, circulation problems. Indeed, there are many women that have heavy menses, and the problems is that they have hemorrhoids and also varicose veins in the uterus. This creates inflammation, irritation, and again is a factor that can provoke with another factors and endometriosis. Also, talking about irritation, there are some women that are very sensitive to some substances, that can be irritant to them, not to all, but to them. For example, some products that we use for cleaning, for hygienic products, can have also some pollutants or things about the tampons. For being so white, they have some chemicals that can damage the endometrium. Indeed, there is like a fashion from some years ago of not using tampons and using the cup, a menstrual cup, and all these things. And also, a woman can develop an allergy to some, even some tissues, some fabrics, for example, for the intimate clothes. And it is much better to use pure cotton. I'm sorry, this usually it's not as beautiful as the other ones, but at least you are safe. Right? But companies are doing beautiful things now in cotton. I am not selling intimate clothes. Well, pH is a very important factor because it tells us about the acidity or alkalinity in a tissue. So, if pH is modified, it can mean that our walls, inner walls, mucus, skin, abdomen can be unprotected. When I talk about inner mucus tissues or skin, I'm talking about lung, large intestine, skin, inner mucus. This is methyl in 5 elements. So mucus is a tissue that is the same as the skin, but interior. If we were transformed like upside down and we were horrible, and our skin was inside, and our mucus, intestinal mucus, vaginal mucus, everything was outside, finally it will be adapted to the exterior and the interior. So the proper pH in each place is a protective factor, so it's also very important, because there are, for example, when there are candidiasis or these kind of infections, there are women that have a vaginal flux that is very acid. So this provokes that this area is prone to infections, and irritations can go up to the uterus. Okay. We have talked about the creation of masses related to chi stasis and blood stasis, and we all know that emotional factors can create chi stasis, and chi stasis can provoke blood stagnation, not for sure, but probably. And this is the point I told you is very difficult to talk about, but intimate dissatisfaction. This is one point that is not easy to deal with in the consultation. Sometimes in the first day, a woman, if she is very angry with her life or her partner, he will tell you, but usually it appears later, or if you want, it depends also on your opinion or the way you work, you can ask for it. How do you feel about your intimate life? Because I will show you some cases in which women feel abused, or they have been abused, or they feel used, and they have been used, or mistreated. So you have a lot of things to think about. And here you have another case. And this is very interesting, related to what we are talking about. What about education or social factors? It is, when I was preparing the lecture, I thought, this is something very difficult to explain nowadays, because I am in the danger that you will call me anti-feminist or something like that. But in the end, I didn't know which words to use, so I will try to be clear and honest and professional, and to explain that in a, let's say, a normal way, with trying to avoid the political language. Well, this is a case I had many years ago. In my opinion, it's very important how a woman feels about herself and how she has been brought to this world. This is an example of a woman that was not loved because she was a girl. Her father wanted a boy, and she was a girl. And she, every day we met, she complained about the same, and she said, this is a difficult word, she said, I work like a man. I am not a man. I worked like a boy when I was little. He lived in the countryside. Her father wanted a boy. He made her work in the land with heavy things and a lot of hours, and she said, I was not a boy. I was a girl. I didn't have the strength to work like that. It was difficult because we say that we are equal, and this is not true. We have the same rights, but we are not the same. And she felt very bad because in the end she developed endometriosis. She couldn't be a mother. And when we studied all the story, we came to the conclusion that she had this mistreat, this lack of recognition in her family since she was born. And even she didn't recognize herself. I do not say this is bad or good. If you are looking at me dressing to lecture, but if you find me in the street, maybe you think I'm a boy. But she always, even for work, has a haircut like a boy and was dressed like a boy. And it is fine, but it was another factor more added to the question that she didn't have any recognition about herself, about like a woman. So we worked very heavily and very hard about that, and I told her, you have to talk to your father and also to your mother, because she has a big part in it. And it was the most difficult part of the treatment, was encouraging her to tell their parents that she forgive them for what she have done to her, and to realize that she was a woman and she can be a woman, any kind of woman she wanted, but she can feel and she can feel, and her body was a female body. So we work in the physical area. We work the same, but believe me, the most difficult work to do was that, and it was okay. In the end, he decided. It was very funny. Well, funny or sad, as you may think, but the endometriosis was fine, was relieved, and in the end, she decided she didn't want to be a mother, because one day I asked her, "You are not getting pregnant." Her mother told her, "You serve for nothing. You are useless. You cannot work. You have not the strength, and you even not even can have a baby, and you cannot give a grandson or granddaughter." And I asked her, "Why do you want to be a mother? Honestly." And can you imagine the answer?
She wants to do better than her own mother.
She said, "I want to give a son or grandson or granddaughter to my parents. I want them to love me. I want to reach their expectations." And I said, "Yes, but it is your body, it is your life." She was a teacher for very young boys and girls. You see, she chose a job to educate children. And finally, she decided she didn't want to be a mother. So she's fine, and she's very happy now. She could arrange everything in their family. Well, the main thing of related to endometriosis to the treatment is rebalancing everything. Okay, we're talking about that, hormonal, physical, emotional, but what to do, how to do, and when to do. The main objective is to achieve regular menses. In female health, if we achieve regular menses, I mean every 26, 28, 30, 3 or 4 or 5 days, but if a woman can have a calendar and she can say, "I expect my mens like about this day," and it happens, we are going to have a lot of things solved, a lot of things. Believe me, a lot of things about fertility, emotional situation, mental situation, a lot of things. And of course, hormones, because getting this regularity means that we have achieved a regularity in hormonal, in hypophysis, hypothalamus, and ovaries. Do not forget that there are a lot of organs involved. So we can observe and we can be aware and watch if mens becomes from scanty, there is more menstrual flow, it will be a good symptom, a good manifestation. If it was very abundant and painful, very abundant, I mean not normal, okay, 6, 7, 8 days, or there are women that have a lot of days and every day like the first day, and say, "I have anemia." Of course, it will be rare if you don't have anemia. This is another point related with endometriosis. So if from being abundant and painful, there is less flow and there is some relief at least, we are on the good way. How we can use charts also. We can tell them from 1 to 10, how will you define your pain? Sometimes it's difficult because we forget when it was very painful, and now that it is painful but not very, we say 10. But compared to those days, but we have a great ability to forget how painful it was. So one thing that I use is that if they are taking painkillers, I tell them, okay, make a record of the day you take the painkillers, which one and how much. because it is not the same in English acetaminophen. In Spanish it is paracetamol. Acetaminophen or paracetamol, ibuprofen, it is not the same that, let's say, an opioid painkiller. It is not the same. If you need an opioid painkillers, the situation is very bad. But if you do not use the opioid painkillers and you use ketoprofen or ibuprofen, it means it is better. If instead of 5 times per day, you use it 3 times per day, it means it is better. So when they come to you and they say, oh, I'm the same, I say, okay, let's see. I have my records written. I write everything. So you have to ask which painkillers or even sedatives, because there are many women that use sedatives, like diazepam, lorazepam, and all that. Okay, have a record of the medicines, the drugs they take, even of yours, the ones you have recommended for pain, and have a record if they use less days or less in a day or a milder painkiller. It means the situation is better. Okay, that we are on a good way. Well, one thing we talk about is that maybe ovulation doesn't happen because there is a pressure over the ovaries, okay, or the tubes are obstructed. How do you know? How a woman know that she has had ovulation without the test?
It's changing cervical mucus.
Okay, the vaginal flow is different. It is like egg, the egg, and it is transparent, not white, not red, not yellow. Okay, so of course they can use the ovulation test, of course, but sometimes we have also to teach them to observe these changes and to notice which day of the cycle it happens. Some women with endometriosis and with other kinds of female disorders, with ovulation, they have some blood spots, some small blood spots. It is not bad if it is only 1 or 2 days. Okay. Well, if there was not ovulation and now there are changes in our body that say that ovulation is happening, again we are in the good way. And also we have to pay attention to these pains and discomfort related to back area, lower back area, and the lumbar sacral, and do not forget that we know that in Chinese medicines from bladder and gallbladder and meridians and Dumai, but of course those of you who work in physical therapy, you know about the sacral-cranial relationship. So often headaches are related really to sacrum and the lower back area. Well, this is because rebalance is really like conducting an orchestra. I know a lot about conducting an orchestra, not because I conduct an orchestra, but because my son is a musician and he's a composer, and so I have learned a lot about all those things. And I told him, I don't know why a conductor is needed. If the musician knows the partiture, they play and that's all. And they tell me, no, Mom, you are very wrong. Each conductor has his own style conductor says when an instrument has to enter and say stronger, and well, it make the style and make everything work together. So say, oh, this is the same that we do at healthcare practitioners. And also, I hope you recognize this game that it is called domino, but there are these figures that you can do when you put all the pieces of the domino and you push just one and all of them go out. So this is like a cascade of things, of events that will happen when we just press the correct key. So I think that our work has to deal with the factor of trying to push the less number of keys as possible to have a great achievement. Well, yeah. Rebalance. Also, I have been talking a lot about hormonal treatment, but also about inflammation, infection, irritation, and all that. And I talk about the immune system, and I work with the theory that hormonal system, nervous system, and immune system work together. It is what I call the central control system. They work together like in an army. The different departments, they work together to control everything. An immune system is protecting the endometrium. Have you ever noticed women here in the hall and with your patients? Have you ever noticed that there are many women that just the days previous to the menstruation they got flu? Okay, this is very simple, not to have a cold or to have a flu previous to the menstruation. I don't know if you have thought about that in the sense I will explain, but when a woman has a menstruation, it is like a big wound open that is bleeding. It's very ugly, but it is like that. A uterus suddenly is like a great wound bleeding. No, bang, no, bound. Oh. Yeah, hurry. Wound. Oh, sorry. Wound. Okay. Well, so it is like a big wound that is bleeding. It's like if we have a traumatism and there is something open, broken, or if we have, don't do that, is very ugly. If we have some part of our skin like that and the muscles are outside, so that happens during menstruation. The endometrium is lost, but it means that the tissue is broken. A big amount of tissue is broken and it's bleeding, and the blood vessels are broken too. So why do not die the first day we have a menstruation? Have you ever thought about that? And the advertisement at TV says that we have to do a normal life when we have our menstruation. Because immune system is protecting this area that is now open to the environment. And it is very lucky that we do not have a general sepsis, and that we do not die, not because of the loss of blood, but because of an infection. It means that it means that our immune system is like only controlling uterus and endometrium. So immune system does not have the time to take care about flu or cold or whatever. These are minor things. Okay, that is why it's very easy. That it's likely that many women have a flu or cold, or they feel tired when they are this previously to the menses or during the menstruation. That's why if we think about that, we can work with acupuncture and we can work with herbs and supplements to improve the immune function, so that during the menses we are not exposed to an environment. Okay, so consider that, and this will help indeed to avoid, as we talked previously, infections with of Candida or Escherichia coli or Trichomonas. Escherichia coli and Candida are infections that come from large intestine. Okay, many people feel bad about this because when they go in the internet, it says they are fecal microorganisms, and they say, "But I am very clean." Say, "I'm sure, but our physiology is like that. It's very easy to move from large intestine to vagina and also to the urinary tract." So one of the things we can do to rebalance our immune system and to give an extra aid to our immune system to avoid the wound, how is it? Wound. Oh, my difficult for me. Is to improve the biota, to improve the microbiota, the intestinal flora, okay, with probiotics or prebiotics or both at the same time, okay? And also consider some enzymes, for example, like papain in the papaya, or bromelain in the pineapple, or a supplement. Above all, papain, it has an action, a double action. I don't know if you know it. It helps digestion. Yes, it help protein digestion. It breaks down proteins. And what is a tissue that has been converted into a scar? What are adherents but proteins? So when you take papain or papaya, but I prefer papain. When you take papain out of the meals, isolated, it will digest proteins, but those proteins of the scar tissues. Okay? Also, it will improve some joint pain and all that, by the way. Okay, do you know the difference between prebiotics and probiotics? Okay, so you can use them at the same time. Okay, in order to have a good biota, because the intestinal flora, indeed, the vagina and the uterus, or above all, the vaginal flora is also very important for that. Okay. If there is a retrograde menstruation, we have to work in order to try to unblock chi, unblock blood, and it's much more important to unblock the scar tissue with enzymes and some other supplements I will tell you. And also maybe it will be a good idea to have a therapy to set in place, in a better place, the uterus. Well, regarding the immune system, regarding there is inflammation, and regarding that immune, nervous, and endocrine system are involved, we have to modulate them. I said that you have to improve, or we have to improve the immune system. Stimulate the immune system means that we give the immune system the opportunity to deal with infections, with bacteria and viruses and all that. But there are some situations in which a woman has a situation in which inflammation is chronic. So in that sense, I said at the very beginning that if there is endometriosis along with chronic fatigue syndrome, the situation will be more difficult to treat, because we have to calm the immune system so it doesn't create inflammation that doesn't exist, and can deal with infections and the real inflammation. So balancing or modulating immune system and endocrine system is very important. And as I said previously, one of the keys in the treatment of endometriosis is achieving a regular menses. Above all, if the women want to be pregnant in a natural way, if she is under some kind of fertility support, we have to deal with the over-hormonal treatment consequences, which is the main organ that we have to pay attention to in this case. If there is a woman with fertility treatment and with overdoses of hormonal treatment, which is the main organ we have to pay attention to? Liver is the organ that can metabolize and can transform the hormones and other less strong substances. So again, from Chinese medicine point of view, liver is a main organ. And liver, as it has the function to make qi flow smoothly and with regularity, it's the key for endometriosis. This is a product I use to achieve all this. Well, about the menstruation adjustment I talk, we can do that with acupuncture, not only with needles. Today, you know that we have a lot of ways of working on the acupuncture points. We can work with laser, with electroacupuncture. We can also use air acupuncture, but using air acupuncture is like something more like a complement, but the main thing is the body acupuncture. We are not going to achieve good results only with air acupuncture. We need body acupuncture. Even if you were with laser, I think that it is a good option, above all when we have very painful conditions, because even though we know that the needle doesn't hurt, you can feel something, of course, but it doesn't hurt in the sense of being painful. There are many people that reject acupuncture just because they connect needle with pain. And so when you are feeling pain almost every day of your life, you do not like thinking about acupuncture very well. But of course, working with laser, we need the device. It is not cheap, but in case you have it, laser acupuncture can give you the same results of acupuncture and without this painful sensation. Although they know they have, because there is some touchy sensation anyway. You can work with herbal therapy and some nutritional supplements. regarding herbal therapy and nutritional supplements, I will give you a list if you want, but at least you will have to look for an antioxidant activity, very important, antioxidant activity. Herbs that can move qi and blood, and also take into account some vitamins and minerals in order to balance immune system, like zinc, for example, magnesium to relieve cramps and pain. And also it will be different if the women have scanty periods or if the menses are very heavy, because you will have to deal with anemia probably. In the end, we have to promote qi of the flow of qi and blood in the pelvic and abdominal and the legs also. Remember what I told you about the venous vessels. And I tell you about Qigong, Tai Chi, then swimming. Many years ago, I was done an interview for a very important magazine for aesthetic professionals. And one of the questions they made me, it was funny for me because we were talking about how aesthetic professionals were improving their education, and many of them, they were studying acupuncture. Maybe there is here something that have an aesthetic background in education. And suddenly I was asked, is it true that belly dance, is it the same in English? Is it true that belly dance is good for female health? And I was shocked by the answer because we were talking about physiology and very heavy areas, and suddenly and I say, yes, of course, you are moving your pelvic area, and besides there are many persons that are sit almost all the time from your desk to the bus or the car, and belly dance is very good for and very feminine. So I think that dancing, swimming, it doesn't matter, whatever, you have to move your body, and it will help, and above all it has to be something that you enjoy, that women enjoy. So a very important thing to support endometriosis and to make menstruation regular is considering the personal nutrition situation. Consider gluten intolerance or sensitivity. So often you ask for the test for gluten sensitivity and they are negative, or for gluten intolerance. Intolerance is not a proper word because really this is an allergy, but intolerance is used. But you ask for the test for the gluten allergy or intolerance, whatever, they are negative. But you try USA to be, let's say, like 1 month without gluten, and everything improves. So I always say try to be out of gluten in your diet, because it is creating, and it's very easy. What we are talking about, a condition in the uterus that can move to intestine. So what happened in the large intestine also can affect uterus. Okay? So try to consider gluten, but also please consider any other food intolerance. You can ask for a food intolerant test, because if there is some intolerance, there can be for sure inflammation, irritation, immune system will be involved. Maybe you can find some lack of nutrients in the diet because the foods are not well digested, and so they are not well absorbed because intestine is swollen. So this is also very important. And try to look for an adequate supplementation to revitalize the system. I write here emotional support. I have talked about that a lot. Dealing with the stress is a very important thing, and you will find, we are talking about women, you will find women that it seems that they are always on a race against the clock. Say, hey, breathe, stop a second. So also you can, sometimes I ask for a program of the tasks they do every day. What hour do you wake up? What do you do when you have breakfast? What do you do until the end of the day? And my God, it can be really stressful just reading this. So another very important thing is to be aware of the cellular stress. We are talking about a condition that involves femininity, involves female body, female mind, and female emotions. And we know that cells and body keeps memory. So even though the situation is better, for a long time it can act as if the condition still is there. Okay? And when we work about the factors, the stress factors, we can work on what we know that it's called epigenetics. But it's very impressive that Chinese medicines thousands of years ago spoke about epigenetics, not with that word. But Chinese medicine teach us that where we live, what we do, what we eat, what we live, what we think, what we feel, everything, climate, relationship, everything can affect us and change us, and can give us better opportunities to be healthier, or can break down any opportunity to be healthy, and can be a harmful factor. So epigenetics is not new. It has thousands of years of antiquity. Okay. Emulating a regular cycle is something that I do in my work, because we are talking about regulating menstruation, and it is not easy to achieve. From the conventional medicine point of view, it is like easy, because first was they try, it is wanted is to minimize estrogenic secretion. Remember, we talked that endometriosis is related to a big level of estrogens, or apparently a high level of estrogens related to progesterone. Okay, so they create artificial menses is created because of hormonal suppression. What is hormonal suppression? We all know that when a woman is under the pill, there are some days that she doesn't take the pill. When she stops the pill, usually 2 or 3 days after, menstruation will come. This is called menstruation because of hormonal suppression. It mimics what happens usually in our body. When levels of estrogen and progesterone are very high, hypothalamus say, whoa, we have a lot of estrogens and progesterone. So it cuts the relationship with hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus cuts the relationship with ovaries, and there are no more estrogens and progesterone. So the levels of estrogens and progesterone go down, and when the minimum is achieved, 2 days later, naturally, menses arrive. Okay, so pills and the hormonal treatment in Western medicines try to emulate that. But, of course, two questions. The amount of hormones that are given with these treatments are very high. Liver has to work a lot. There are a lot of side effects. Just read the papers. Inside the drug, there are a lot of side effects, from headaches to strokes and circulation problems. Okay? So, and another important thing is that maybe this hormonal treatment is not necessary anovulatory. What does it mean? If a woman is under this kind of conventional treatment with estrogens and progesterone and like a cycle and that, and she thinks, oh, I'm not going to get pregnant, and she doesn't want to get pregnant, be sure that really this dose allows you not to be pregnant, because maybe there is not an anovulatory dose and you're pregnant. You can be pregnant. So you have to read with your patients, or at least you have to advise them, because many women think that all the hormonal treatments with progesterone or estrogens are contraceptive, but not all of them are like that. There are a lot of secondary effects, and I tell you, headaches. Even if a woman with headaches with this hormonal treatment feels that their headaches improve, are more frequent, or are more intense, it's very important to stop the treatment. Okay? Bloating, acne, body weight increase, depression, swelling, hypertension, circulatory complaints, venous damage, a lot of problems that they are all the same as problems that are of the pill, really. But now that it is not the same when you are in your 20s that when you are in your 30s or 40s, but it will not respond the same. Unfortunately, also as related to the hormonal imbalance that comes with endometriosis, you will find that women with endometriosis have a problem to lose weight. Okay? Because wood is involved, liver is involved, and earth and spleen is involved, and also kidneys and water retention may be involved. So there is a problem to lose weight. Or maybe there is a weight increase, moderate weight increase, but they have some problems to lose weight. How can we support hepatic function? And that means that from biochemistry we can support liver Qi function. We have to release the Qi stasis, okay, of course, which is the base of all the gynecological masses. We can work from the biochemical point of view with some detox products of substances. We can support the glutathione system. Even with glutathione, we can find it as a supplement. Glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant and also help liver detoxifying from substances, and also it helps liver to detoxify from these tremendous amounts of hormones that usually those patients have. Superoxide dismutase is one of the main enzymes, antioxidants, enzymes, and also helps immune system is released in the liver. And of course, we have to treat each case in a personal way. We have to individualize. We talk about the spleen, heart, and kidney. Consider all levels of causation. I mean physical, emotional, mental, and also beliefs. Spiritual also is important. Okay. Here I talk about the biological terrains that are creating endometriosis more likely. I know that terrains is maybe a strange word for you. I have my background also in biological medicine, and constitution and terrains are the same, but really are not the same. Constitution means, strictly means the physical area of the body, what you can observe, your bones, muscles, if you are tall, if you are more wide than tall. This is a constitution, how your teeth are, your skull. There are constitutions for good, for earth, there is different constitution. But terrains means how the body reacts more in a biochemical way. So it is not the same. I know that strictly in Chinese medicine we can talk about constitution and everything is involved, but really it can be different. So terrain, it means like if we have a land that it not only our body but also our thoughts, our emotions, and we will receive a terrain when we are born, and we can take care of it and we can improve it, or we can destroy it and have a lot of diseases, and maybe we have received a treasure and we lose it. Regarding the biological terrains in endometriosis, we have to detox. Above all, when the woman is under hormonal or psychiatric treatment, remember there is pain. Many women are not only with painkillers, but with sedative or with anti-anxiety drugs. That is it's very common, and this needs to be detoxified from the body, not only because they create an attitude, but because they create waste. They create waste in our body. Pay attention to circulation, the varicose vein. Remember what I told you. Take a look at the legs. Take a look at the legs. Maybe uterus is the same. So when we help and we improve venous circulation, and we can do that with specific herbs and also with acupuncture, we are helping the circulation in the uterus. So we are improving the endometriosis, which are, do not forget that, because it is very late, blood masses. Okay? Well, for those who are familiar with maybe homeopathic background, psychotic terrain or soric terrain are related to a way that the body can react. That soric means that it keeps a lot of waste and create diseases related with the elimination of this waste. For example, diarrhea, dermatitis, eczemas, all that are related to this soric terrain. If a woman with endometriosis suddenly develops a dermatitis, it's a good symptom, because the toxins inside are going outside. Okay? If she suddenly develops a diarrhea, it's a good symptom, because the toxic inside are going outside. Okay? What's inside have to go outside. And we know that for the yin and yang meridian relationship, yang meridians links the yin with the exterior. Okay? Skin is the outside part of intestine, and intestine is the outside part of lungs. Skin is the outside part of lungs. Okay? So whatever goes outside, it's better than be inside. Psychotic terrains without a P, it doesn't mean psychotic, the problem of the mind. Psychotic is a word that comes from Latin, from, I know how to say that. Psychon. Psychon is a Latin word that means fig, the fruit, fig. Do you know? I said it correctly?
Yeah.
So a fig is like that. When we have it at home, they are green or purple, a fig. When you have, if you slice it, you have inside like that. You know what I talk about? Okay. Well, this kind of the form, the shape of this fruit gives name to a terrain in which body is very likely to create small masses. Even, for example, any kind of masses, chi, blood masses, even, I am going to write down this word, I am not sure if I'm going to say it, okay? Rat? Words, okay. It is related usually to virus infections or lipomas, any masses. And there is a sonic terrain has the ability to eliminate. But suddenly our body can get weak and cannot eliminate. So it keeps in some place. That is why we have chi and blood masses. Okay. So also it can be related also with the way we are in our mental or emotional field. For example, there are many women, as I told you the examples before, with endometriosis that they never tell what happens to them. They keep everything inside. They do not talk. So they are keeping inside. Sometimes they explode because it is liver, and liver explode with anger, no? And we shout a lot, and it happens like a war. So it is good in some sense, but there are many women that never express what they feel, what is happening, never. So they keep it in a box with 7 keys, we say in Spanish. In a box, like in a coffer, in a very beautiful box, but with 7 keys for no one to know what is happening. But suddenly it appears that something is happening, and our body tells us this. So express and talk, and or at least write what is happening is very important. I tell my patients, buy a very beautiful notebook, very beautiful, the one you like. I don't need to see it. I don't want you to show it to me. And write, like when we were teenagers, we have our book and we wrote everything. We have to recover that. I also teach my patients that in the end of the day, you can write all the things you have done and write a tick. And so you feel proud that you have done maybe not many things. It doesn't mean many or few things. It means you have done things and you are proud of it. And it's very important regarding this to talk about assertivity, to say no. Because we as women are flowing, our blood is flowing. So if we are not able to say no because of culture or whatever, everything is kept inside. And when it appears, always it is in a bad way, believe me. So also this is very important. Think that chi stasis also means mental and emotional stasis. So give instruments, give tools to your patients, write or talk or whatever, but finally some they want to paint or whatever, but they need to do something to express themselves. Okay. Okay, I think that we can go over this because we have talked about the immune system that usually is weak, vaginal infections, and also here this is a point, a very important one. There are some women, above all when they are under fertility treatment, that they develop endometriosis because of an autoimmune response. What is happening? I told you at the beginning, the menstruation is like a biological luxury, and our body is not full. When we are about approximately more than 35, more or less, our body knows that being through a pregnancy time, 8-9 months, will be a very heavy task, very biological heavy task. So we are not so fertile. This is the only reason. We are not old, but our body is not as strong as it would. So the immune system also, what it can happen that it get, let's say, nervous because it is pushed to get pregnant. The body is pushed to get pregnant, and the immune system say, "This is what are you doing?" And the immune system, this is like a joke, but the immune system thinks, "Okay, this cannot happen," and the immune system overreacts against the endometrium and can provoke not only miscarriage but also endometriosis. So take this into account. There are women with thyroid related to autoimmune condition, Hashimoto, thyroidism. This is an autoimmune disease, and also can have endometriosis. Okay. So, if immune system is reacting against endometrium, we have to think about this and to treat it correctly. And I've talked about micronutrients and nutrients, and this is another important thing, how tired our patient is. And I have written here that she goes late to bed, and I thought about myself. I am very well at night. I have been always studying and working, and I studied very well at night. If I have to write or create or think, I am very well at night. But if you ask me to start in very early morning, I feel very sad. I have not the mood, not the energy. I'm not angry, but I have not the mood. I have not the energy, but I'm very good at night. So the question is not really does she go late to bed. The question is how many hours does she sleep, and is this time is really a relief for our body. But the question is important in another sense, is that a person is more likely to be awake at night until, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3. It is losing the detox hours of liver doing things. So we have to improve the detoxification treatment to help this person to be well, to be fine. So the question is correct and not correct, depending on the sense. But the very important thing is, is she fine? Does she sleep enough? Okay, I already explained that. For those of you who are familiar with immune modulation, we have two phases, Th1 and Th2 of the immune system working at the same time. This occurs mainly, but not only, in the evening and at night until the early morning, and this occurs and functions mainly, but not only, during daytime. this is more detoxifying and pro-inflammatory, and this is more to create defense against virus and bacteria. So they have to be balanced, okay? I think that our immune system has to be strong, balanced, and wise to know what to do in each moment. I told you we were going to repeat this slide, and here I made a chart with the main syndromes that we can have, that we can find in order to work from Chinese point of view. Now that we have understood and that we have all the symptoms, just this is like a summary. More related to liver good, we have chi stasis, blood stasis, of course heat and toxic heat. That is why we need to detoxify, and we can have also heat related to gene insufficiency, what is very common in endometriosis. So we have to find to the complementary symptoms in order to know what's happening. And regarding to earth and spleen, we can have gene deficiency. This is not very common in endometriosis, but we can have some cold that make blood to clot. So scanty menses and those masses, but this is not very common. What is more common is that we have a problem in liver good, and it makes that earth in the spleen chi is deficient, and that is why tan is gained, and tan appears in the form of a mild overweight. That is why I explained to you that usually women with endometriosis have a problem to lose weight. That is why I told you in the first case she was very thin, but this was an exception. Indeed, I have many patients that when we finish with endometriosis and they are fine, say, now I want to lose weight, because endometriosis is the first, is priority. Okay, but they say now, Nuria, I want to lose weight. But do not forget, this is related mainly to that. Okay. Regarding the implication of fire, we have to remember fire is related to vessels. So vessels damage, remember, legs, uterus, varicose veins, and all that. And also the local heat and blood stasis and the bleeding affects uterus, the surrounding area, bladder, large intestine, and lungs. This is like a summary for you to work. And here it comes after all the points that for sure you will have in your mind. You will be thinking about, I will use this and that and that. That's why I think that for me, when I teach, I think that the main thing is understanding what is happening, understanding all the factors. And the tools, I have the tools, but even though I know all the chart of the meridians, but I do not know what to treat, I'm not going to use the points properly. So now that you know all the factors, now that you understand, I think that for sure you have written down the points that you will use, okay, and the herbs and everything. So here are some of the points. Of course, I know that there are many more. There is another slide, because sometimes we have our preferences, of course, with points, and our relationship with points, and maybe we feel more comfortable with someone that went another. But of course, liver 3 and liver 2, large intestine 4 and large intestine 11, it's very important in dealing not only with large intestine but also with lower back pain and lumbalgia and all these. Spleen 3, 6, 9 and 10, of course I am sure that you will think about this, spleen 10. But also if we find that we have a problem in venous circulation and the return of the blood to the outside part of the body is not correct, you know that the spleen 6, 9, and 10 are perfect to help liquids and blood going from the feet to the kidneys again. Of course, stomach 36 and spleen 3, you can choose or one of them. The 2 points extra for uterus. Regarding Renmai, 3, 4, and 6, you can use them and choose them. Of course, the local Ashi points, but, there is a but. Be very careful. Remember, if there is pain, so often the Ashi points disappear. I mean, you find them when you are touching, but after you needle everything, what you think, and I should recommend, do not start with the local Ashi points as if you were treating an arm, a pain in a joint or something like that. Start with the treatment points, and leave the local Ashi points just in case, because usually endometriosis is painful. So you know that needling and Ashi points usually is also painful, so maybe they will feel scared. This is the machine I use for laser acupuncture. Sanjiao 5, Heart 7, you can find another points to get some sedative for the mind if you want some sedative effect for mind and emotion. Spleen 10, it was already there. Gallbladder 31 or 32 is very important for us women. It is in the area that's called fascia lata. Fascia lata is an area in which we have cellulitis very often, and it's an area where toxins accumulate very easily, liquids and toxins. So even though they do not ask for an aesthetic effect, but you can work on gallbladder 31, 32. You will get the aesthetic effect, and you will have a support to liver, and you will have a support also to the gynecological area and to breast, because maybe we have some lumps in or some other condition in breast, and these points are very useful also for being in a better mood. Okay, stomach 44, gallbladder 43, and stomach 40 when you have time, and the woman says she has some difficulties to lose weight. They are not priority, but it will help to feel better when you are suffering so much. Of course, I'm sorry I did not translate it. It is kidney 3 and kidney 6.
Kidney 3.
Kidney 6 and 3. It is riñón in Spanish. And the ear points if you want to, but mainly body acupuncture. And I have some ideas about herbs and traditional formulas if you want to know it. What?
Which ear?
Yes, but here I use like with local points. I mean uterus, liver, and the area. Instead of using the Ashi points in body acupuncture, I prefer to use it here. If for those of you who work, I love very much working with herbs. There are some ideas about the classical one or tongue, T one or tongue, for example. xiao, yao, san, and the derivatives. There are many derivatives. 杂红 Sudan. Of course, Shao Fu Su Yu Wan or Tang. You know they have prunus, armeniaca, jengibre, ginger, and they have the herbs that are used to move qi and to move blood, to improve and avoid qi and blood stasis. You can choose from these, and vitamin C, vitamin D to improve the state of the hormonal situation, and antioxidant, and glutamine. If you want to improve intestine, is also good along with probiotics and prebiotics. You have a lot of possible combinations with the points about the treatment duration. I think that 3 months is proof to be if you are very lucky, a 3-month treatment. But usually, I ask for 6 to 12 months of treatment. Frequency, if possible, once per week. Once things are better, you can change to 2 per month, but these 2 have to be the 2 previous week to menstruation. So you have to work with this up, okay, to prepare. I know when your mens is and the 3rd and 4th week, and then we can go only to 1 per month, 4th week, to improve blood circulation. Well, that's all. As a recommendation, remember the possible cause and factors in every levels. Remember when to do the exams the same week, please, the same week, if you can, after the menses, to have a possibility to compare, okay? And take care. These are my books. You do not read Spanish. I hope someone translate them into English. I have a lot of things to be translated. I translate to other authors, but it's very difficult to me to translate myself. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much. Now, if you have some questions, I already answered some of the ones I was done.
Could I just see the previous slide? That's not the last slide, the slide of the differentiation.
You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter and everything. This one?
It's far back, it's where you're talking about the difference between
Can take a photo.
Thank you so much. That was
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you so much.